Hey guys, Simon here, and in today's video I'm going to be covering a solo flawless hunter guide for the Duality dungeon. I will be explaining how each encounter works and break down each of my builds including weapon and mod loadouts. I will also be suggesting some alternatives should you be missing any of the weapons or mods I recommend in this video. So without further ado, let's get right into this episode of How to Hunter. Starting with the entrance, the goal here is to traverse the dimensions using the bells located in the rooms between the normal realm and the nightmare realm. This is a mechanic that will be used throughout the entire dungeon, so this is a good introduction. You can transfer from the normal realm to the nightmare realm from anywhere in the room, but you must be within the aura of the bell when returning back from the nightmare realm, otherwise you will wipe. A quick side note, there is a bug within the dungeon where you can die when you ring the bell. How or why it happens we don't know, but it's something we can't control, so I just wanted you to be aware of it. It seems to happen the most inside the final boss room. Our weapons for this part will be a sniper rifle to trigger the bells easily, a primary weapon of your choice, and an LMG such as the fixed odds. There are a total of 6 bells that you will need to ring, and some platforming is required, but it's a relatively straightforward encounter that should only take a few minutes. There is a neat little skip here that allows you to drop straight down to the final bell, which saves some time. Once you ring the final bell, you will drop down into the room and use your primary / LMGs to clear the adds. Once the enemies have been defeated, the floor in the middle of the room will open, and you can drop down into the first boss encounter of the dungeon, GYRFALCON. Let's start with the build and then we'll break down the encounter. Our subclass will be Blade Barrage, with our first aspect being Knock Them Down. This aspect gives our Blade Barrage more projectiles and also refunds our knife on final blows, which is very important to the gameplay loop. Our second aspect is On Your Mark, which gives us better reload speed and handling on precision kills, but more importantly it gives us 3 fragment slots to maximize for our build. Moving on to our fragments. First we want Amber of Beams to give our Blade Barrage projectiles better tracking. This helps overall with the consistency of our supers hitting the target. Next we want Ember of Torches, so that our throwing knife hits can make us radiant, which gives a 25% damage boost. Ember of Ices, so that we can apply more squirts to targets, which feeds into our next fragment, which is Ember of Singeing, which allows for our class ability to recharge faster when we apply Scorch. And our final fragment will be Ember of Solace, which makes our radiant and restoration effects last longer. Gambler's Dodge, so that we can refund our throwing knives by dodging, and Knife Trick, so that we throw a fan of knives that also apply Scorch on hits. Our grenade of choice will be a healing grenade for the extra safety, but you can also run a solar grenade here if you are comfortable. For our weapons, we want a fusion or a shotgun on our kinetic slot to help to deal with the nightmares. The Callus Mini Tools SMG in our energy slot with the perk Incandescent, or any solar energy weapon you feel comfortable using, and the exotic sword Lament. Our exotic armor of choice is Star Eater Scales, which while our super is full, picking up an orb of power allows us to overcharge our super, which gives us bonus damage. It ends up being a 70% buff at Feast of Light times 4, making Blade Barrage with maximum stacks the highest damage and super in the entire game. Looking at our mods, we start off with our helmet. We want Harmonic Siphon so that we can generate orbs for Star Eaters using our solar weapon, and the 2-point Elemental Charge. Elemental Charge allows us to become charged with light if we pick up an Elemental Well, and get 2 stacks of the well match our subclass. Our Star Eater skill should be Arc so that we can use the mod Lucent Blade. If you're unaware, Lucent Blade gives you a bonus to sword damage for 5 seconds when you're charged with light, but consumes 1 stack. We also want the secondary effect, which gives us faster charge time with swords when we have another arc mod active, so we will slot in Invigoration, which gives us bonus melee energy on our orb pickup and our boots. On our arms, we want them to be solar so we can use the 2-point charge stop mod, which allows for an additional stack of charge with light. Our class item should be Stasis so that we can run 2 utility kickstarters, which gives us a percentage back of our class ability when we use it, and the 4-point mod Melee WELLMAKER, so we can generate an elemental well by getting a kill with our charge melee. On our chest piece, we again want it to be solar, so we can slot in the 5-point mod Supercharged. This mod allows us to have 2 additional stacks of charge with light, which in turn grants us the maximum number of 5 stacks when combined with the mod charged up we equipped earlier. For our build, we want to prioritize as close to 100 resilience as possible for the 40% damage resist, with the additional focus going towards mobility, discipline, or intellect. These will be the stats we will be running for the entirety of the dungeon. If you're missing Lucent Blade, then you can run an Elemental Well build instead. The first mod would be Font of Might, which gives you a 20% buff to weapon damage when matching your subclass for 10 seconds when you pick up an Elemental Well. Next would be the 2-point solar mod, Well of Life, which grants increased regeneration upon picking up a solar well for 10 seconds, and of course we need a way to generate these wells. The mod Melee WELLMAKER will be our choice as it is the most consistent way to make solar wells on a hunter. We can also run Reaping WELLMAKER, which is a 2-point Void mod that allows our next weapon kill after dodging to generate a Void Well. We will pair our new Void Well with the mod Well of Tenacity, which is another 2-point Void mod that gives us 40% damage resist when we pick up a Void Well. Once you have the build set up and the loadout equipped, we are ready to start the first encounter. When you enter the room, you will notice a bell in the middle. At the top of this some steps, and one behind you blocked by a divider. There are 4 symbols in the corner of the room: cup, axe, sun, and dog. These symbols overlook a door that is locked. In the Nightmare realm, these doors are open, and there will also be a boss which is immune in this realm. You need to unlock 2 doors and defeat the Shades of Galaron to start damage. 2 things to note. First, you will see a timer on your lower left hand side when you enter the Nightmare realm that when reaches 0 will cause you to wipe if you are still in this realm. Secondly, the bells will now be locked, and there will be 2 bell keepers. These need to be defeated in order to unlock the bell and return to the normal realm. Be careful of the backpacks, as these drop once the bell keepers are defeated and can potentially be exploded later by ads or yourself and cause you to wipe. Inside 2 of the 4 corner rooms will be a scion called a standard bearer. Once defeated, they will drop a symbol that matches one of the doors in the normal realm. They will also extend your timer inside the Nightmare realm by 15 seconds. You need to locate and defeat both bearers. Pick up one symbol but leave the other symbol on the floor, but remember where it was. Defeat the bell keepers, then return to the normal realm. Find a door that matches the symbol you have. It will tell you in the name in the bottom left above your kill feed. The bell keepers will spawn after a brief time. Defeat these and open the corresponding door. When the door opens, you will be met by a Colossus and some more priests. Take these out, then shoot the bell whilst you are inside the room to teleport to the Nightmare realm. When you cross over, you will be greeted by a collection of mini-bosses. When you defeat these shades, they will drop an orange orb similar to a War Mine cell called Unstable Essence, which will give you a damage boost against nightmares for 15 seconds. You need to defeat all of these in order to open the door and return to the main room. Defeat the bell keepers and then go to the location that had the symbol you left behind from your first trip here, but don't kill that scion. Pick up the symbol, then go to the bell and return to the normal realm. Locate the second door and again defeat the bell keepers, Colossus, war priests, and then ring the bell. Defeat the nightmares in this room and now kill that scion. This will grant you an additional 15 seconds for the damage phase, which is very useful. Take out the bell keepers and then fight Galaron and start DPS. Start by using your charge melee to proc Radiant, then Blade Barrage. Dodge into him and then use your Lament combo. Use a charge melee on the Legionnaires to re-proc Radiant, and also make an Elemental Well to reapply charge with light stacks for Lucent Braid if you run out, or to just refresh your Font of Might if you're running the Elemental Well build. When the timer hits 10 seconds, make your way back to the bell and return to the normal realm. Repeat everything from the first phase, however many times it takes to defeat this boss. There is no enrage mechanic, so don't feel forced to rush. With enough practice, this can be comfortably done in 3 phases or less. Proceed through the jumping puzzle until you reach the next encounter, which will be the Vault. For the Vault, our subclass will remain the same, but we change our weapon and armor loadouts. For weapons, I recommend a Witherhoard with an SMG and an Eager-Edged Sword to help you get around. Our first piece of armor will be the Movement Exotic Stompies. Our mods will be the 3-point Solar mod Explosive Wellmaker, which will spawn a Solar Well when we get multi-kills with our Witherhoard. Then we slot in the 2-point Solar mod Well of Life for improved regeneration. Moving on, we want to equip the 4-point mod Font of Might for 20% increase to our solar weapons for 10 seconds. Next will be the 2-point mod Reaping Wellmaker, so that after dodging our next weapon kill will generate a Void Well. And finally, the 2-point Void mod Well of Tenacity, so that we get 40% damage resist when we pick up a Void Well. If you are missing any of these mods, they aren't essential to this encounter, so they just make it easier. When you start this encounter, you will be greeted by an immune mini-boss and 2 symbols in the middle of the room on the floor lit up. There are 3 mini-bosses in total, each requiring 2 symbols. We will be making 6 trips into the Nightmare realm this time. Again, we have 2 bells just like in the first encounter. One is located at the top of the staircase, and the other right behind us next to the rally flag. This time, however, we have 2 sets of bell keepers found underneath the bells. Each set is tied to the bell. Next to the bells on either side will be a divider wall with a picture of a symbol on the back that matches the 4 symbols from the first encounter. These are used throughout the dungeon. The enemy that holds the symbol will again be in the Nightmare realm, but won't be a scion this time. It also won't spawn immediately. Instead, you will have to clear all the enemies in the given mini arena tied to the symbol, including a yellow bar Colossus at the top of the staircase. You will then see a Satyrion standard bearer spawn where the Colossus was. Defeat him and pick up the symbol that spawns, then make your way to the bell and kill the bell keepers under the bell you didn't use to enter. So if you used the top staircase bell to enter the Nightmare realm, you would kill the opposite bell keepers to leave. And if you shot the bottom bell to come in, you'd kill the top bell keepers to leave. Deposit your symbol and then repeat for the second. It is worth noting that it is possible to grab both symbols during the same trip if you're fast enough and familiar with the layout of the room. But for right now, we're just going to focus on one symbol at a time. Once you have deposited both symbols, the mini-boss will no longer be immune and you can start the DPS phase. Good news here is that there is no time limit for these mini-bosses, so defeat them using whatever methods works best for you. Rinse and repeat what you just did a total of 3 times until you have beat the Vault encounter, and then proceed through the next platforming section until you reach the final boss room. I just wanted to give you a quick little tip here, that there is a very easy skip that if you use a Stasis Nade and Stompies, you can bypass most of this jumping puzzle. After you get the secret chest under the cube, jump back up on top of the cube, then to the wall behind it, and then finally to the bar above. Clear out these adds, then throw a nade at the wall. Jump up and then slide down. It saves a lot of time and bypasses most of this jumping puzzle. Once you finish the jumping puzzle on the outside, you'll be ready to take on the final boss. For this encounter, our build will be focused more into survivability and playing more passive. Our subclass will be Void so that we can take advantage of the ability to go invisible on demand. Let's start with our super. Our choice here will be Mobius Quiver. This allows us to do some high burst super DPS to the boss while also applying a 15% weakening debuff. We want Marksman's Dodge for the fastest possible cooldown and to reload during damage phase, and Vortex Grenade is the overall most consistent. Our aspects will be Vanishing Step to go invisible when dodging, which we will pair with our new exotic of choice, the chest piece, the 6th Coyote, which gives us an additional class ability. Our final aspect is Stylish Executioner, which when defeating a weakened, suppressed or volatile target grants invisibility and True Sight. This pairs beautifully into our first fragment, Aqua of Instability. Defeating a target with a grenade grants your void weapons volatile rounds. If you didn't know, volatile rounds build up explosive void energy into a target and then they explode when defeated, spreading more volatile to surrounding enemies. Very fun and can clear entire room of adds and low mid-level content. Our next fragment will be Aqua of Starvation, which grants us Devour when we pick up an Orb of Power, giving us health regen and faster grenade cooldown when we get kills. Our last two fragments go hand in hand with each other, so let's start with Aqua of Undermining, which makes our grenades apply a 15% debuff upon damaging a target with it. And we pair that with the fragment Aqua of Remnants, so that our grenades last twice their normal duration. For weapons, we want to run Arbalest to quickly take out the Bellkeepers, Funnel Web or a Title Void SMG, and the new linear fusion rifle Tapan, with the roll Triple Tap and Frenzy. This can be crafted. We will be using the 6th Coyote as our main exotic for the majority of the encounter, but changing to the exotic chest piece GYRFALCON'S HAUBERK for damage. GYRFALCON'S exotic perk See Me Feel Me grants us bonus 35% weapon damage for 6 seconds after leaving invisibility. This is extremely easy to achieve by dodging to reload with Marksman's Dodge, which in turn will proc our Aspect Vanishing Step, and charging our linear breaks the invisibility. The gameplay loop is very simple and allows for nearly 100% uptime of the 35% weapon buff during DPS. Our helmet mod will be Harmonic Siphon so that our void with final weapon blows generate an Orb of Power, and Well of Tenacity, which gives us a 40% damage reduction when picking up a void well. Our arms will be Void so that we can slot in a 1-point Void mod, Bolstering Detonation, which grants us class ability energy back when we cause damage with our grenade, and the 4-point mod Font of Might to give us a 20% weapon damage to our void weapons for 10 seconds. Our chest will have 1 concussive dampener to give us a 15% damage resist against area of effect attacks, and 1 melee resist to give us 15% damage resist against enemies within 4 meters of us, and elemental ordnance so that our grenades generate a void elemental well. Our boots will be solar so that we can run recuperation so that we can get our health back on orb pickup, 1 incineration so that we get our grenade cooldown on orb pickup, and taking charge so that we can become charged with light by picking up an Orb of Power. This also allows us to continue collecting orbs even after our super is full and keep Devour active. Our class aim will be Stasis so that we can run 2 utility Kickstarter mods, High Energy Fire, which gives our weapons a 20% damage boost until we get our next kill when we are charged with light. Devour makes this encounter much safer and allows us to have basically 100% uptime for your grenade and volatile rounds, as well as constant health regeneration. If you're missing any of the armor mods, then just use whatever you're comfortable with. Just take it slow and don't panic. Let's explain the encounter mechanics. On the sides of the room there are 4 platforms that show 4 symbols. There will be 3 bells, 1 on each side and 1 in the middle, with 3 sets of bell keepers like before locking the bells. In the front of the room there will be a big bell that is attached to some chains. Next to the chains there will be 2 lit up symbols. You need to collect the 2 symbols from the standard bearers on the platforms in the Nightmare Realm. They will be Scions this time. Keep in mind that the platforms in the Nightmare Realm don't have the symbol above them, so you will need to remember the locations for each symbol. If you kill the wrong standard bearer, this will remove a large amount of your time and more than likely cause you to wipe. On screen now is a map showing the layout of this room. I've left this link below in the description so you can pull it up on your second monitor or your phone and follow along as you play. Unlike the previous encounter, I would recommend you get both symbols on the same trip. In the Nightmare Realm you will need to kill the 4 bell keepers in order to return to the normal realm. These will spawn on the 2 bells you didn't shoot to enter. Once you have gathered the 2 symbols and returned to Kaido's room, you need to deposit the symbols, then enter the Nightmare Realm again and collect the remaining 2 symbols. Once you have deposited all 4 symbols, the chains holding the bell will glow. You will need to shoot them to break the chains, which will ring the bell and start the damage phase. I would recommend that you only deposit 3 out of the 4 symbols and make sure that you are ready for damage before you finish in the final symbol. Make your switch here to GYRFALCON'S. Kill all the bell keepers so that you can quickly enter the Nightmare Realm once the chains are broke. and make sure all your abilities are back and that your weapons are reloaded. You can also farm ammo here in later phases as the enemies spawn infinitely in waves. Once you're ready to start damage, deposit the final symbol, shoot the chains, then shoot any of the 3 bells that are left to enter the Nightmare Realm. Once you enter the Nightmare Realm, you will need to kill 3 sets of bell keepers as quickly as possible. Prioritize 2, the middle and one of the other sides, whatever side Kaido walks towards. Kaido will spawn in the middle of the arena where the big bell was and walk either left, right, or more straight towards you. You need to beat her to whatever bell she is traveling towards. If you walk within range of her, she will stomp, which will cause her to slow down a little bit, allowing you more time to get inside the aura of the bell. Shoot the bell when she is within range to stun her and get a damage buff. This will lock her in place for a short duration so that you can do damage to her, and then she will move to one of the other 2 bells. If you need to stop doing damage to take care of the scions on the platforms, I would recommend doing this as they can be quite troublesome. Repeat this again for the remaining bells. Once she unstuns for the 3rd time, she will make her way back to the middle where she spawned, and then you will be taken back to the normal realm. The full DPS phase will go as follows. Start by throwing a vortex grenade at Kaido's feet on the first stun to apply a 15% debuff from Aqua Undermining. Dodge to go invisible so you're charging your linear will activate GYRFALCON'S perk. On the second stun, tether Kaido. Dodge again and repeat the first spell's damage. On the final stun, use your grenade again, or smoke, to apply a 15% debuff if your grenade is not ready, and repeat the same damage. This will give you some form of debuff during all 3 bells as well as a 35% buff from GYRFALCON'S. Now all you need to do is repeat the first phase again, finish the encounter. This will likely take multiple phases on your first attempt. You may end up losing a damage phase if you can't make it to the bell before she closes it. If this happens, it just resets the phase and you will need to start again collecting the symbols. It can be frustrating to lose a full damage phase, but there is no time limit, so try not to get too flustered. Once Kaido is defeated, you will have earned the triumph for Solo Flawless. I hope you found this guide helpful, and if you want to see more from me, consider subscribing and following me on Twitch. The links are in the description below. Thanks for watching.